I wish there were palm trees on 495. I wish there were palm trees.
Welcome to the 495 podcast, presented by Greater Long Island Media Group. I am your host, Nick Esposito. Alongside of me
is Michael White, co-host.
And we're here with our 22nd episode of the 495 podcast, an awesome one. Vargas Boxing, the team from Vargas Boxing, from Finest Fitness in Patchogue. We have the father, Mike Vargas, who runs the boxing program, and his son, Alex, who recently went pro, and he's rocking a perfect undefeated record, 3-0. I went to most of his fights. So, guys, thank you very much for joining the podcast.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
And you guys are Bellport guys?
Bellport.
Where'd you grow up, Mike?
No, I grew up 12 years in Hollis, Queens, and then Bayshore, New York.
Oh, with Run DMC, right?
Yeah.
You're probably around that age, too, right?
Yep.
I'm sure they lived close by.
He was close by. We'd see him once in a while in the basketball courts until he made it big.
Yeah, and then he was done with Hollis.
Yeah, he wouldn't know who I am.
I actually grew up in Rosedale, Queens, so
okay.
I wasn't too far away from you.
Yeah.
And how'd you end up out in Bellport?
We got married, looking for a place, and we found a little house with a cul-de-sac, which was I wanted, and there we go. Yeah.
And here's Alex.
So
that's what happens.
Yeah, so I wrote about Alex a few times now, but we'll get back into the history of it. So, Mike, you were into boxing, or you watched boxing, growing up?
My dad was a boxer, so my whole life, I can remember I was 3 or 4 years old, we used to spar in the front yard in Hollis, Queens, which is kind of like a 12 by 12 with a 4-link chain fence. But I never competed. He would never, let us compete or actually play a lot of sports. But that was his thing, boxing. So my whole life I grew up sparring. And then when I had Alex, when he was little, I started doing the same thing my dad did with him. Have him sparring when he was a little kid.
Yeah, and how old are you when you picked up your first pair of gloves, Alex?
I was 6 years old, I think. But it was always in my blood. There's little, clips of when I was in the crib, and I'd get up.
Fast
I'd get
hands,
up, and I'd start.
Active hands always moving.
I'd start punching the camera, boxing the camera.
Well, when he was a little bouncy, what I used to do was always roll and hook. And I remember he was 3 or 4 months old, and I used to tap him on the cheek, and he used to love that. He used to laugh, so he always was around with keeping the hands up. And, I didn't know he'd go professional with it.
4 months old, that's great. Yeah. Tiger Woods didn't pick up a club until he was about 3. He was sparring at 4 months old.
As it progressed and you started picking up those gloves more and more and sparring with your dad and that, when did you hey, I want to kind of do this, and, I want to pick this up as a sport or as a hobby? How old were you then?
I'd say about 8, I think. It was when I sparred my dad that I really wanted to get into it, because we'd be downstairs and make up a fake belt we'd fight for, and we'd box 3 rounds and have a winner. So I'd keep telling my dad I want to go to the gym and actually do it. So that's when he took me. And I was 8, right? 8 years
You were
old.
actually younger. He was 7, because I used to tell him the stories that what my dad used to do with me. And then when he was 7, we used to spar in the basement. He goes to me, "Dad, I don't want to be like Papa." Because I told him my dad never let me go compete. He said, "I want to compete. I want to train in the gym." He was 7. And that's how I looked up Mr. Ed Murphy. May he rest in peace, no longer with us, but I took him there, and from there, he liked what I did with Alex, and he said, "Won't you become a coach with me?" And that's how my coaching career with boxing started.
Where was Ed Murphy's gym? Where'd you guys start training?
That was Granny Road in Medford.
Okay.
Yeah, it's no longer there. It's, I think, something like a school behind the old Wonder Bread or Hostess, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Back there.
Were you reluctant at all to have your son get into this violent sport?
No, not as little kids. It's very safe. The way that rules have changed, amateur boxing is very safe. People don't realize that, but the rules, the headgear, the gloves, the way they're training the refs, it's very safe. The tough sport is when you go without the headgear and go pro. That's where it's a little more difficult. So
Yeah, before that, I get hurt more in football, stuff like that, than boxing, as an amateur at least.
Did you play football at Bellport?
Yeah, I played
As
for
well?
Bellport. So.
Now,
What year did you play, by any chance?
I playing all 4 years. I graduated 2013.
Okay.
So I ended up on varsity my sophomore year when they won the LIC.
Yeah, no, because I probably played you because I played for Newfield.
Oh, yeah. That
Oh, yeah.
So
they
we
were
probably
undefeated at the time.
Yeah. So we probably played each other.
Nick
That's
mentions this.
Yeah, we won the LIC. I was a fallback.
When I first met him, he mentioned it.
Yeah, he mentions
Yeah, exactly,
Before
yeah.
he even
Yeah.
says hello, he mentions.
I had to pretend like we and Alex didn't have this conversation before, so we could get it to the
So
crowd.
when'd you graduate? Come on, just
That was a
say
good team
Just
back
say
then.
Yeah,
That
no,
was a
it was fun. But to go back to boxing, you won a little something called the Golden Gloves.
Yeah, I did.
So to tell me what that experience is like, people that don't know what the Golden Gloves is, let's start there. What is the Golden Gloves?
The Golden Gloves is the oldest tournament in the country,
Yeah.
right? So it's been around like 90 years. So it's just known. Everybody's won it. Mike Tyson's won it. Ali's won it. And it was something I wanted to win as a little kid when I saw all these fighters winning the Golden Gloves and getting that gold chain around their neck. That was when I first started. That was my goal, was to win the Golden Gloves. So it's just a huge tournament, and, everyone knows about it. But
Is that what's around your neck now? I can't tell.
yeah,
with
that's,
the mic.
that's what's around my neck.
Excellent.
So that's for, the best amateur fighter, right?
Yeah, they have every weight class, and then it starts in January, and then goes all the way to April. So you win, you move on, you lose, you.
When did that start? When did you, first start training for the Golden Gloves, all that stuff?
My senior year, football was over, and I gave up wrestling. And then I told my dad I'm going to do the gloves, and we started training, I'd say November. And then came back to boxing, just ended up going all the way to the finals and winning it all.
Yeah.
How many people did you have to beat to win that tournament?
That year was 5.
Wow.
5 tough guys.
Wow. 5 fights in 5 months, basically?
Yeah,
Wow.
so staying busy.
What was the toughest fight out of the 5?
Oh, man. I'd have to say my quarterfinal fight.
Okay.
I fought some 28-year-old from, like, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. He was, like, 6'2".
Wow.
He was huge. I didn't know how he was fighting in my weight class.
And you're like 17 at the
I
time?
was 17 at the time. And, it was easy at first. I was picking them apart. First round, I was just boxing around them. Then the second round, I got too comfortable and dropped my hands. And next thing you know, I'm on the floor. I just hit the deck. And then that's when everything got tough, because that's the first time I was ever dropped and wobbled. So I got up all wobbly. My legs were gone. And then I had to go on and finish the fight. So that was definitely the toughest fight. But I'd say every fight after that was really tough.
What's the crowd like? It's MSG, right?
No, that year was actually the first year at the Barclays Center,
Okay.
which was,
That's great.
I wanted to do that. I wanted to fight at MSG
Yeah.
because of the history. But it was the first year Barclays was open.
First year
so-
Barclays. That's
Yeah, it was
in
awesome.
itself. What's the crowd like at the Golden Gloves tournament?
Oh, that was nuts, because I was in high school at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember,
Yeah, most kids are home.
we got a party bus. So all my high school friends had pulled up to the high school, and I had like 50 of my friends on a party bus. Yeah, they were 18. Everyone's drinking, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Went out there, and they were just, you guys know, my crowd. Ever since then, they're loud.
Yeah.
It's only 50 of them, but they're really loud. So,
Yeah, Nick was telling us about the Paramount.
yeah.
I
So-
regretted I couldn't beat the last fight, but you said he's got a nice crowd out.
Oh yeah, it's like I wrote about it. It was like the sea of red out there, all rocking the El Toro, Alex Vargas shirts. Like the whole upper deck of the Paramount is filled with it.
Right.
Bellport rolls deep. That's what they say.
I have a good group from everywhere,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, Bellport, I have people from, Mastic.
All these people
you
you
know,
came up with, I'm
Patchogue.
sure, right?
Yeah.
And
just a lot of
Cortland,
friends.
the university, a lot of his friends
Yeah.
from college come.
Nice.
Yeah, and I first met you. I think it was back when Joe Smith Jr. was training at Vargas Boxing at Finest Fitness.
Yeah, he came up to the support. Yeah.
So Joe Smith Jr., who's a professional boxer who was well known for knocking Bernard Hopkins out of the ring. Alex, your journey was just getting started. You were just coming back home from college at that time.
Yeah. I just graduated. I was like 185 pounds, out of shape.
So there was like a whole period. So after the Golden Gloves, you decided to go to college, and it was kind of contingency from Dad because you wanted to be a professional
I wanted
boxer.
to turn pro right away at 18.
But he said that you gotta go to college
Yeah, I
first.
have to go to school, get my
Absolutely.
degree, and
Yep.
I wasn't too fond of that because I felt good. I just won the gloves. I wanted to see what I could do at the next level, and it's like, now you're going to school.
And you went to Cortland. We just mentioned that before. But what'd you go to school for?
I went to school for teaching English as a second language.
And your whole intention while you were, at school, was it, I'm just going to be a professional boxer anyway, but I'll just graduate?
Yeah.
Like, what was the mindset?
Well, my first 2 years I went to Suffolk.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? I'm still home. I can still train. But it was tough, going to school. And then I kind of just stopped training. And I transferred and went to Cortland. But it was always in my mind. I always told my mom, my dad, my sister, I'm coming back and I'm going to start fighting again. So
Just after a few more beers and quarter
yeah. So I was up there, and it was always in my mind.
Sounds
But
like a real punishment.
Yeah.
2 years.
I know.
I've seen some videos from up there. Yeah, it's
No,
crazy.
I had a great time. It was good, like stepping away and just meeting people and going out, 5 nights a week. But at the same time, I always knew once I come back, I'm getting focused again.
It's crazy because you said you're 185 pounds, and the last fight that I went to, you were 130 or
140.
140.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a big drop.
Yeah, a lot of discipline.
Yeah. I can
How tall are you, Alex?
I'm like 5'7".
140.
So let's continue with the journey. So you come back after college. You're like, I'm going pro. So you hire a manager, and then you get your first fight at the Paramount. What was that whole process of like going pro, inking your first deal? What was that like?
Well, actually, I didn't just come home and turn pro. I came home, I started training again, and then we decided to do the Golden Gloves again.
Oh, that's right. The Road to MSG.
Yeah, the Road to
Okay,
MSG.
yeah,
they
switched-
changed the name.
They changed the name, right?
Yeah,
Right.
but
It's a whole big thing. We can't talk about it.
yeah, it's, the
I use the
names.
term Golden Gloves. I had lawyers calling me up.
Really?
Seriously.
That's
It's
crazy.
the Ringmaster tournament
Ringmaster,
now.
Road to the Garden, formerly known as the
The
Golden Gloves.
Ringmaster tournament. That's really what they're calling it.
Yeah, because they
Sounds
give
like a
you a
circus.
ring. It's a nice
Gotcha.
ring, but it's not like the chain. Everyone knows the chain.
It's the
So,
history.
we came back, we started training for that, and I actually remember the bracket came out, and I saw my dad sent me the bracket, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be tough because they had, I think every fighter there made it to the finals, won the tournament before.
And you hadn't been out of practice, obviously.
Yeah, I was out for 4 or 5 years, so I was like, this is gonna be tough. And then first fight, we took out a 2-time finalist. Second fight, then we were just counted out. We fought the Italian national champion and Olympian,
And he trained with Paul Malignaggi.
Paul Malignaggi. Yeah, they trained with him, and then we took him out. And then beat another guy who's pro now. It's like training with Pacquiao and stuff. And then made it to finals against the number 1 kid in the country, turned out to be, and lost a split decision. But I thought I won the fight.
Now, when you get involved in boxing, as a kid, socially, when you join T-ball and then you join, your lacrosse, your basketball, you're there with all your friends.
Right.
Everyone knows each other. I know when I was growing up in Rosedale, Queens, when I wanted to play baseball, I went to Catholic school. So when I wanted to play baseball, I went to the team. I didn't know a soul. I was just kind of by myself, so I kind of wasn't really into it for that reason. When you were getting involved in boxing, going up to Medford and fighting, you're kind of you're on an island. You're by yourself at that point, right? And you're not seeing your buddies from school and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Was that kind of tough, to keep at it? Without that sort of social aspect to it, it's such a solitary sport, and I'm just
Right.
picturing a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's still tough too. Because since I did every sport, I realized that like football, you had the 2-a-days and stuff like that, but in between you're hanging out with your friends, you're eating, you're not on a strict diet.
Yeah.
With boxing, you can't go out to the parties.
Can't have a beer with us right
You
now.
can't have one beer. Don't touch
He
it.
has to watch.
Yeah.
You're eating on such a strict diet. You can't go out. Your friends invite you out. Okay, you can't drink, but then you go. You can't eat anything there.
Yeah.
In bed by 10 o'clock. It's different. You're really, by yourself.
And then you understand, he only boxed when he was a junior once a year in a tournament because I kept him involved in school sports. He played every sport, baseball, basketball, wrestling, football, track, but I only let him fight in the spring or summer. And in high school, I didn't let him fight. I wanted him involved with school sports. Those are your friends.
Yeah.
You want to remember your high school, so I kept him involved. But his senior year, that's when he wanted to quit wrestling. I never let him quit anything. He's like, Dad, I'm going to go play football for college, because he had a couple of small offers. And so I let him quit. And he ended up surprising us by going all the way.
Yeah, tennis, boxing, figure skating. I remember I interviewed with the Daily News, like Sarah Hughes, who was a big figure skater. These people live.
Yeah, right.
You know, when they're into it and they're waking up every morning 5 a.m. to go figure skating, they just it's almost like being a child actor. You know, you don't really have that normal life. You kind of just live on an island off on the side. So that was really great. Your father recognized that as being an issue because you want to have a well-adjusted life, and it's nice that you kind of brought all these things together for yourself.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand too what it's like, you know, training as a boxer and not going out. Even my dad at times during training, he'll be like, oh, you know, because I just sit at home when I get to rest. I'll just, you know, hang out, watch Netflix. He's like, oh, you know, why don't you go hang out with some girls? And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, how am I gonna go ask a girl out? You know, to go somewhere to eat, and what am I gonna bring my food and heat it up, and then, you know, I'm sitting there drinking water, and then it hits 9 p.m. and I'm like, you know, I gotta get to bed because I gotta go run at 4 in the morning. So how am I supposed to meet anyone at that time? And he's constantly pushing, like, you know, telling my mom, why didn't I go talk to girls? I'm like, this is the life I chose. Like right now, I have some time, I can do it now. But during training, it's like it's tough.
But then maybe that one person that understands.
Here we go.
That's great. We got to reshare this podcast out around Father's Day.
But it is strict though. Like, what are you supposed to do? You know, like.
Yeah, there's nothing you can really do. Like, I just play Xbox, you know, and that's it. I go to bed at a certain time. I wake up. You know, you can't hang out late either. You know, you don't feel the same. You get up to run or go spar these top guys, and you're not 100%. You can get hurt. Yeah. So you really have to put in the work if you want to be successful.
What is the type of people you surround yourself with? Because I'm sure all of your friends are they're staying out late. You know, they're waking up 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. They're not waking up 4 o'clock. So what do you surround yourself with?
I honestly just surround myself with my family, and I have one, my best friend, Jason, and he understands. So, you know, he'll come out with me. You know, we'll leave early somewhere sometimes, but he's the only one. But other than that, I don't. You know, it's tough because people they don't understand. They say they do, but they don't because once it comes,
no one gets it.
Yeah.
No, I mean this is completely unrelated, somewhat. But when I was working for the Daily News, I was working weekends and nights. not so much weekends, but nights. And then I was working Sunday through Thursday night, and I didn't really have much time to see my girlfriend at the time. And you know, there were a lot of family parties. So when people would ask me to hang out, it was always no because I couldn't. I only had this amount of time to do anything outside of work. And, you know, people get a little pissy about it. Like, how do you not understand? I'm working till 2 in the morning. You know, like, this is not in the cards, you know?
Right.
So you got to just, you know, well, I'm sure you guys talk about this a lot, but you got to sort of just block that stuff out and you know, do your thing, which is what you're doing. So you don't need that type of advice. But you know, that's what I tell people.
Yeah.
So do you have a cheat day or a cheat? You know, you get like one cheat day a year or something. How's it go?
When I'm training, I try and give myself Sunday.
Okay.
Depends. Once I'm closer to the fight, I don't because I really have to get the weight down. But yeah, I'll give myself once a week.
So what do you get? Like 3 scoops of ice cream or something crazy? Like what's like a cheat?
Grilled stuffed burrito or Taco Bell?
It's pretty.
What does Alex Vargas eat?
It's pretty disturbing. I mean, some cheat
like
days I have. I always
5 cookies, like chocolate chip cookies.
I always say I'm gonna have a cheat meal, and then that ends up turning into a cheat day.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one time we went to Gallo, and I had, you know, nachos, quesadillas. Then we went to a barbecue after, and I had some more food there. Came home, my sister made dessert. I felt sick. Like, it was too much. I'm like, I'm never doing that. Anything I can eat, like, I just grab it.
So do you do, I know you have a strict diet, but is it like, you know, are you into the keto? Like, what kind of diet do you have? Like, are you just like on ice chips or something?
Not until the last week. Nah, I eat healthy meals direct. Okay. So it's just, you know, I could have a burrito, and it's around 400 calories each meal. It has your protein, carbs, and then I'll eat that every 4 hours. And that's really it. That's how I get the weight down.
It's actually not bad, too. I've tried it.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I do it once a week now, healthy meals.
Get all jacked up.
Yeah.
Feel good.
Yeah, it does work.
All right, so let's go forward with Alex Vargas' story. So he inks his deal, gets his first fight at the Paramount. You know, what are some emotions going on in your mind? Just first when you decided to go pro. Like, you know, what's going on in your head?
I was just excited because it was something I wanted to do for so long. But I just knew it was going to be different. You know, the media, the bright lights, the no headgear, small gloves. And I just had that in my head. You know, how different is it really going to be? That's really what I was thinking about because I know I can fight, but how am I going to react when I get hit with an elbow, headbutt, stuff like that?
Now, going into your first professional fight, are you wearing headgear when you're sparring ahead of time?
Yeah, wear headgear. I actually I have a nose guard too because, you can't get cut. 2 weeks out of a fight, I get cut and I have to be pulled out. That's what you don't want. So, yeah, you wear a lot of protection, 16-ounce gloves.
So the first time you're wearing no headgear is in your first professional fight?
Yeah, it was the
Holy
first
shit.
time.
So how was that like?
I remember getting hit with the first shot, the first round, just a little shot, and I was like, wow, I have to pay attention to every punch. If I don't see it coming, I'm going to sleep.
And you fought someone who already was a professional boxer, had one fight under his belt.
Yeah, and he was a really tough guy from Philly.
Yeah.
Really tough guy. So it was a wake up call. My first fight showed how different it is being an amateur and a pro.
Right.
And your fights, 3 fights now, 3-0 like we mentioned before. They're 4 rounds.
Yeah.
Are you ready to take that next step to add more rounds to a fight? Is that more training? Do you have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning after running?
I'm ready to do that now because I don't start fast. I take time to get going in the ring. I like to watch my opponent, see what he does, and in 4 rounds, it's tough because, like Chris Algieri told me, he's like, a guy off the street has 2 rounds. They give you a tough 2 rounds, you have to win the next 2 big. Like my second fight, I got dropped in the first round. I lost that first round. I had to win every round. I had the pressure to win every round after that. So I'm in shape to go 6. Like I said, I spar 8 rounds with tons of top guys. It's just, mentally getting ready. But I think it'll help me. Like I said, I start slow, give me a little bit more time, less pressure.
And Chris Algieri is a big name too. I mean, you trained him before. Chris Algieri, he was a welterweight champion of the world.
Champion of the world.
At one point.
Yeah.
From Huntington, I think, and went
He's
to
from Huntington.
Went to Stony Brook. So you're training with some big name guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm surrounded by. Rich Comey is a world champion. I'm with that team now. Danny Jacobs, Chris Algieri, everybody just top
Curtis
guys.
Stevens, Saddam Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andre Rozier is taking him under his wing.
I'm the little pup in that gym now.
Yeah.
You guys spend a lot of time together?
Who, me and
Yeah, you and this whole crew.
I just started with them for this fight, but yeah, once we get when we're fighting again, I drive out to Brooklyn all the time, and like I said, I'm surrounded by them. I'm in the ring with them. It's a really good team.
And so, how have you enjoyed fighting? On Long Island. Who knows when where your next fight's going to be? But your first 3 fights were in Huntington on Long Island. Like, what was that like?
It's a great feeling because
the crowd comes out crazy.
yeah,
for you.
you're in Long Island. It's my hometown, so we have over 100 people come out every time, and not only 100 people, they're loud, they're reckless. So and the good thing
they
is,
are reckless. I mean,
yeah. So
Pretty crazy.
We're in Huntington too, so we're on Main Street. So everyone likes to come out for the fight, but then we all get to go out after and just have a good time. So it's fun.
How's that feel? I remember I won a big fight in high school. It wasn't a boxing match. It was in the streets. But we went to like a house party afterwards, and I was like being celebrated because this guy was like a bully.
Really? Okay.
And it was the best feeling. Someone gave me a big chalice to drink out of.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Real brawler.
I still look at those knuckles. That's from his head. So I can't imagine the feeling after winning an actual real fight at the Paramount, and you're going out with your friends, you're celebrating out in Huntington after, like, you got to feel like just the king of the world after something like that, right?
Yeah, you feel great, but it makes you, like, I feel, how can I say, grateful to know that many people come out to support me.
Yeah.
Just to know that 120 people are out there, wearing a shirt with your name on it, and that they're willing to come out after work, or, they're flying out there to get out there to watch me fight. So, I take it in, and then, yeah, I do have fun. Every 2 seconds I'm getting a drink offered to me.
This is just a side note because I have a friend who used to box, but obviously you wouldn't get into a fight outside of the ring. But you're technically weapons, right? Your hands are like technically classified as some weapons or something like
I
that.
think now they're considered weapons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So you
crazy.
had to register with the police department.
I don't know how that works. So I don't want to find out.
Yeah. But I just thought that was just an interesting side note.
No,
Like
I
when you
know.
become a professional boxer, your hands actually
crazy.
become literal weapons.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it happens in like the martial arts too. If you're like
Right.
some sort of
Yeah.
black belt,
Even when he was
you get in a
small, I
fight, you
always
can be
told him,
liable.
Alex, walk away, walk away,
Oh, of course,
walk
of
away.
course. Boxing, the state of boxing right now, is your goal to work your way up, obviously, to the higher ranks of boxing, or do you have like long-term goals to maybe get into something different, maybe UFC or MMA or something different?
People always ask me because I wrestled in high school too, but it's just not. I don't like it. I like being in that chess match, where it's just your hands, and you have to figure out your opponent. I like being able to get dropped and have that chance to get up and come back. In the UFC, it's tough. You get dropped, and
That's over.
they usually call it. And I like that second chance, being able to figure someone out over 12 rounds. I respect all of those guys because it's brutal, but boxing is just my sport.
What do you say to the critics out there, like, boxing's kind of dying, MMA is kind of the way to go? What do you say to people like that?
I mean, it's crazy because you look at the ratings and boxing still is on top. It's just not.
It's just different, right?
It's just different. I don't know why, but the ratings still, it ends up on top. I mean, you look at the fights coming up. You have 2 big fights this weekend, a huge fight next weekend, June, another huge fight, May. I mean, these are just huge fights.
But this weekend, I just want to mention, since you mentioned Joe Smith, he fights this Saturday at Turn & Stone Casino
yeah.
against Bivol. It's a big fight for him, so, we have to root him on. It's on DAZN, if anybody get on DAZN, DAZN. And also Sean Monahan, who's a Long Island guy, fights on that same card.
And what night is that?
That's
Date?
this Saturday.
This Saturday.
What date is that?
It's
The
March 7th?
ninth?
Or,
Ninth?
Yeah,
Ninth,
I think.
I don't want
the
to
ninth.
listen. If someone's listening to this 2 weeks from now, I don't want them
to be dated a
to.
little bit.
Exactly.
It's the 9th.
Okay, cool. So, all right. So, Alex, what's next for you? What's the next step?
What's the dream?
Yeah. What's next?
We're
Where am I going next to cover you?
still waiting to
Am I
find
gonna have
out.
to pay for Esposito to fly out to Vegas?
I'm hoping. We're still waiting. We should know within the next couple of weeks, I hope. Hopefully something big. You can't really get into it right now, but
What
excited for the future.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead. Yeah.
But what type of? Yeah, right, so when you sort of move on from a Paramount type of location, not move on, but
Yeah.
when you're fighting somewhere bigger, what type of arena would be the next step?
I mean, it could be. There's so many arenas.
Yeah, like
around,
Mohegan Sun or
but,
Atlantic City.
Mohegan Sun, Turning Stone, the Garden.
The Garden.
It could be all the way in Cali.
Barclays.
It could be anywhere really.
Yeah, I know Cletus Sullivan had his HBO debut was in at the Nassau
Oh,
Coliseum.
Nassau
Right.
Coliseum.
Nassau
That's another one.
And he's fighting soon again.
I don't know. I haven't heard
I
anything.
think he's going to be
He just
fighting
fought.
soon again on HBO. He commentated at the fight. He's very good at it, too.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Let's transition a little bit to Vargas Boxing now. So, Alex, do you do a lot of your training at Vargas Boxing at Finest Fitness?
Yeah, I do it there, and then I go to Brooklyn. So I'm back and forth, but yeah, Vargas Boxing is always my home. I grew up training with my dad, so I'll always be there.
So let's you get the pitch now. So you've grown Vargas Boxing from Alex to now you have over 50 people.
Yeah, we broke
program?
50. Uh-huh.
So tell me a little bit about the program. It's a mix of ages, genders, everyone, right?
Yeah, it's all. I mean, we actually have like 6 females training right now. One that competes. Jess won the New York Metros this year. So that was my first champ. That same year, Alex got to the finals. I have 3 in the semis of the tournament, Ringmasters tournament. I have Caesar is my 36-year-old master. He's in the semis. Jessica Perso's in the semis. And my 201 plus, Derek Rossi's brother, is also in the semis. We're just waiting for a date for them to compete. I'm hoping we can get a sweep there and the 3 of them go to the Garden.
That'd be awesome.
That would be great.
So how what does it mean to you to see this program grow to so many people now, 50 people? You have a nice setup too. They're the second floor of Finest Fitness. They have the huge ring in there. They have the whole top floor, which is
Right.
awesome. Bunch of bags and everything like that.
Yeah.
But what does it mean to you to grow this thing to where it is now?
Oh, I mean, it's exciting, I mean, like I said originally, so Alex was the one that started this program.
Oh, really?
No, I was
You're just helping him along?
I was done out of it, and he kept convincing me, Dad, Steve, was the owner then, wanted us to start it, and I kept turning them down. And then, I finally got convinced, but I said, I'm just going to help. Then that's when Alex decides he wants to go pro. So I'm kind of stuck with it, but I have 3 other
But
coaches.
you're passionate about it.
It's like, Dad, let's get a puppy. I'll walk it. I promise.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, that's not. No, what happened was.
What happened was.
Yeah, I wanted to start it, but like I said, I went to Cortland. No, yeah, I went to Cortland for a year, came back, and then I got accepted into Stony Brook, and I went to the orientation, but they didn't transfer my credits. So I had maybe one class go over. I was like, I'm not going to waste a year and come back. And that was last second, I think a week before. So I had to go back to Cortland. So that's when my dad really got stuck with it. I went to Cortland for another year. Then I came back, and I said I'm fighting because I knew that's what I wanted to do. So, yeah, he got stuck with it. But I had to go back to
That
school.
didn't really change the story that much.
Well, luckily I have some good friends. 2 kids that they're young men now that I trained when they were juniors that are also my coaches, and another guy got Coach Kevin Lobo, Coach Glenn Willis, and Coach Xavier Navis that helped me out, plus Alex as well.
Yeah.
So because I can't do it.
What would you say is the benefit for people to get into boxing? You know, whether it be a kid or maybe someone who's just in their mid-20s or 30s.
Well, there's many benefits. I have people that have lost 60, 50 pounds,
Wow.
don't ever want to compete. You don't have to compete. It's a boxing gym. You don't have to compete. You don't have to spar. You know, you can just do the cardio part of it. And so I've had a lot of people lose a lot of weight. At the same time, I have people that they say, oh, I just want to train, but I'll never step in that ring to spar. Well, probably 90% of my members spar. You know, they spar my experienced guys. They work with them easy, and as they get better, you know, they'll go a little harder with them. But now I have this coming year 5 that said, oh, they'd never spar. They're never going to go spar another gym. Well, now they want to go spar another gym and then possibly compete. So, you know, you'd be surprised how far you go with it.
You want to do it, Nick?
Yeah, you want to spar? You want to spar?
Spicy? I'd like to train.
Alex, I mean,
I'll be one of those 10%.
Mike's a brawler. I don't know. He knocked someone
Those
out when he
days
was
are behind
14.
It's great workout though.
No, I can
great. I
imagine.
mean, I have, you know, women that transition because they constantly see how we work out.
Yeah.
It's nonstop, and those that's, you know, they're intimidated. But I keep telling them you don't have to spar, and once they try it, they fall in love with it.
I can imagine it's like football for me. You know, you kind of get that if you're a kid growing up. You know, you kind of can get that aggression out in a positive
Right.
outlet too. You know, you hit the bags instead of go picking on kids at your school or whatever it is.
Right.
So you kind of get that energy, and negative energy or whatever, any energy out of you.
Yeah. If you're mad at somebody, take it out on the bag.
It's funny, I played football. I always played team sports. And when I got into wrestling in middle school, something in my mind, like before the match, like my throat would dry up, like something would happen to me that, you know,
Yeah.
like...
Ravenous dog.
No, like just like nerves or something, you know?
The nerves are
I
kicking
didn't
in.
think existed,
Yeah.
you know? So it'd be cool later in life to maybe get over there and
No, that'd be
spar,
fun.
you know?
For sure.
Yeah. Conquer my old fears from 7th grade.
So Alex, hit us with some knowledge now. You know, we've never boxed or anything like that. You know, what is it like to be in that ring, to be hit someone? You know, what is that like? Can you walk us through like what a
Yeah,
fight?
yeah, you nervous wreck before? Or you like what happened? Like take us through the whole thing.
Before my fights, I mean, with time it goes away.
Yeah.
You know, I
Do
used
you have
to
any pre-game or pre-fight rituals? You know,
pre-fight rituals.
you do like some push-ups or something?
Listen to Red
What's
Man.
that? No. I just listen to my music, all types of music, Spanish rap, whatever. I'm a bit nervous. You know, I feel like the pressure of the night. You know, but once I start warming up, I break a sweat. I just get excited, and once I'm walking out and I hear my song come on,
And I hear your name
that's when
being
it's
chanted by hundreds of people.
yeah. I hear them in the back through the TV. It's crazy. So no, it's more excitement. You know, but you can't let it get to you. You get too excited.
Zen warrior.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah, it's a lot of it's in the back that people don't see, you know, and before mentally getting ready to fight, not even the night of, the week, you know, staying focused, and a lot of it goes on in the back. You know, you come out not focused, and that could be it.
In your third fight, your most recent one, do you ever feel like, because I watched it, and you know, you knock it down your opponent, do you ever feel like, all right, I got him, this is over, you know, or is it just a constant like, gotta be on my toes, like he can hit me one shot, it's over?
Yeah, when I dropped him, I knew I hurt him, but I saw he got up quick, so it was more of a flash knockdown. I knew to stay composed because, like I said, those small gloves, you get
never know.
wild, you get hit with a shot, and it could be a good night. So I kind of, you know, eased my way back in there. You know, and I knew I could take him out, so I kind of took my time. But yeah, you have to always be careful now at this level.
Now, when you got an awesome home field advantage here.
Yeah.
If you're, you know, fighting, I don't know, Philly's close enough, but if you're fighting kind of far away,
The guy was from like Ghana or something too.
without those
Yeah.
100-something people cheering you on, is that going to be a little different for you?
To be honest, it's kind of easier in a way.
Yeah.
You don't have that pressure. You know, when you come out to your fans, you know, you want to go out and put on a show, and you want to, you know, do everything for them. And they tell you in the back, you know, my coach and stuff like that, don't, you know, do it for them. Don't let them get to you, you know, where you come out and you start exchanging because you hear the crowd and stuff like that. So sometimes when it's another person's crowd, you have nothing to lose. It's just like, you know, I want to go out and make them shut up. You know, my first fight, the kid from Philly told me, he's like, I heard them booing me. He's like, I liked it because I have nothing to lose. It's just like, you know, the pressure isn't on me. It's on you.
Yeah, and this is probably not great journalistic standards on my point of view, but when you go out there, like, I get the adrenaline, like, because I'm rooting for the kid. I'm rooting for the Long Island kid too. You know, he's supposed to be nonpartisan as a journalist, but but like, I can only imagine you. Like, I could, you know, when the music comes on and, you know, everyone starts cheering and, you know, the adrenaline starts pumping, you can only imagine it just overtaking you a little bit, right?
It's crazy. Yeah, it takes you. It's just a crazy feeling. You can't explain. It's what you miss though. That adrenaline rush. You know. And it's all day. You're getting texts, you're reading them, you know, but you gotta put your phone to the side, you know, stop paying attention to that. But it's crazy knowing how many people are there cheering for you. So yeah, it gets you jacked up, but you have to keep it calm. If not, you can be tired, you know, right when you throw the first punch.
And Dad, what are you thinking when you're watching your son go out there for a professional bout?
It's exciting, but, you know, I'm kind of thinking of don't drop your hands.
Yeah.
Don't drop your hands. But it's nice to see that, you know, he's already grown pretty big at the Paramount, because the turnout, not only, you know, his friends already ran into people that don't know him, but they've seen him fight, so they're now coming back to see him fight. So that's kind of neat. And then, like this last one, they know that he comes out to the salsa music, you know, and I look over and I see all the women by the bar, they're all dancing, and, you know, once they hear the music, they're getting into it, which is nice, you know. But the Paramount is a great venue. I mean, we'll always fight there if, you know, there's something for us and they allow us, because it's our hometown.
Not to get into like a big professional boxing conversation, like national stage conversation, but did you have any favorite boxers growing up that you can point to, or people you mimicked?
My favorite fighters were Mike Tyson.
By the way, did you see that recent video of him?
Of him throwing punches at like 52 years old?
Yeah, it's like going viral right now. Mike Tyson at 52 years.
Brownsville, Brooklyn.
He's like throwing punches like 100 miles an hour. It's crazy.
I would never mess with that guy.
Not to make it about me again, but
but when I was 18, I knocked someone out.
Actually, before the Call the Truth Williams fight, I was upstate with my dad, and my dad worked in Brownsville, Brooklyn. He was a New York City firefighter, so you know the Tyson thing was always kind of we were into. But before the Call the Truth Williams fight, I think he knocked him out in 2.5 minutes. It wasn't the 90 seconds that it took to put Spinks down, but. But I actually went to Call the Truth Williams training facility.
Oh,
and,
wow.
like, met him, and
That's neat.
yeah, I was there for a few hours. You know, great guy. Signed a.
He is a nice guy, yeah.
Oh yeah, you know him.
Yeah, we met him a
We
few
met him,
times.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
very nice.
man, the whole Tyson thing in the '80s and early '90s was just wild. Like, you know, like the parties people would have at their houses. You know, for it.
God.
Like, you know, we really haven't seen anything since then.
There will
I mean,
never
obviously
be
we've had
another
some-
Mike Tyson.
Yeah. So.
Ever.
But there's a first Alex Vargas, though.
Oh, yeah.
But go ahead, continue to talk
So it was
about.
Tyson. I'm sorry. Who else?
Tyson, Mayweather, and right now it's Lomachenko. But that's really it. Mike Tyson was the one that really made me love boxing, watching him.
And that was a little before your time, right?
Yeah, my dad, you know,
You
like
weren't
I said,
watching these fights live, obviously.
no, my dad showed me Tyson, because we used to watch boxing, but he always showed me the Tyson clips, and I was like, you know, just amazed at what he did.
Just curious, just because it was such a big top and everyone watched it, the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight.
Yeah.
What was your take on that whole fight?
I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew Mayweather
He
wasn't...
didn't have a chance at all.
No, not at all. I knew he wasn't going to take him out right away. You know, he was going to play it out, the whole build-up. I knew McGregor was going to come out fast, but he's not used to 12 rounds. And
It's completely.
I heard Mayweather bet on himself to stop him in the 11th round, something crazy like that, which I wouldn't doubt. But I knew McGregor had no shot. But, I mean, if you can make that much money, why not go do it?
So you weren't surprised. He looked pretty good those first like 3-4 rounds.
Yeah, which I knew, because Mayweather was just letting him, you know,
Tire
his game.
himself.
tee off, and he didn't care that he was getting hit. It's not like, you know, a boxer's punches are different from MMA fighters. Like, a boxer knows exactly how to throw a punch. Right? MMA fighters, not so much. You know, they know how to kick, everything else. But when it comes to punching, it's different. Like I said, it's a chess match when you're just punching. So you saw Mayweather was just blocking most of it, getting hit with little slaps, stuff like that.
I know you're a Mayweather fan, but that Pacquiao fight just like.
Oh no,
Felt like such a waste
they're
of
sleepers,
time.
yeah. But
Holy shit.
just
Well,
being
I was like,
that's his forte. It's just
they're
defensive.
they're so boring. A young Floyd Mayweather was fun to watch, but as he got older, because I'm a boxer, like I appreciate how he fought. Just to be able to make these
His mind
top
game.
guys and beat them easily like that, just moving around, not getting hit. It as a fighter, it's cool to watch, but yeah, it's boring. It's boring.
He just
Very
became
boring.
so smart.
Yeah.
Just so smart.
Yeah, well, he's winning. You know?
Yeah.
And winning and making money.
Yeah, there was like times that I would say like, there's no way this McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight was even real. You know,
Right.
I always felt like it
It's
was
such
just
a joke.
Yeah, like just a publicity stunt. Like these guys backdoors had to be friends because they're just like, say whatever you want about me, I'll say whatever you want about you, and this thing's gonna.
Yeah.
We made $1 billion.
Now they're best of friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Helped each other.
Yeah, 20 minutes and they made freaking.
That
I remember I was hanging out
ridiculous
with
money.
Steve. I'm curious to see what you guys say about this. I was hanging out with Steve from Finest Fitness over at Porter's in Bellport when I lived in Bellport.
Oh, okay.
No,
And
that's
I was
fun.
there with a big boxing trainer. He was a known guy. Steve's like, this guy's a known guy. I looked him up on Wikipedia, and I started picking his brain about MMA. And his take on it. It was about 8 years ago. Things may have changed. I see there's some jacked guys now, but he was like, MMA will always be kind of like. And you see these guys in the ring. They don't even look like athletes. You know, a lot of them just. You know, it's like, don't they work out and eat like nothing? Like, how do they look like this? But he was just saying, if you get these superior athletes, you know, involved in MMA, they're going to end up like killing each other. You know, so he
Yeah.
always thought MMA was going to have a restrictor plate because it was never going to attract those
Right.
real superior athletes
Yeah.
that could fucking hurt each other.
Yeah, but it has. That's a
But in the
sport
meantime,
is
it
really
seems
growing.
to have.
Yeah, you look at Daniel Cormier. He looks like
Oh,
okay.
he's like a
Oh my God.
He looks like he eats a box of cereal every day.
Yeah, he's fat.
So
Straight up fat.
What do you see the future for boxing and MMA? You know,
I just think they're both gonna. It's never gonna die. Either sport. I mean, everyone's gonna want to see people beat each other up, fight each other. So, whichever one it is, they're both gonna end up with big fights. Big names come up and grow, fight each other. They said boxing was gonna die years ago, when Mayweather was gone, and now we have a whole bunch of new superstars. Canelo's the highest paid athlete in the world, $345 million, I think, over 5 years.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's nice for us, the viewers, because now over the course of 12 months, instead of maybe 2 or 3 big fights, and then you got 7 or 8 big
Right,
fights between
yeah.
the 2 sports.
A lot more, yeah.
It's something to do, right?
They're both great. I love them both. It's just what you choose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I watched the Triple G Canelo fights. I watched the UFC, like the big. If they're
Yeah.
big, if it's a big fight, doesn't matter if it's
Yeah.
UFC
Yeah, you're
or
gonna watch
boxing.
it.
I was gonna
Yeah,
watch
it's
it, but
people
I'm just
fighting each other.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to see that.
Is there anything else you guys want to add about maybe Vargas Boxing that we didn't go over?
No, we continue to grow. We only have 1,200 square feet, but we're growing. We're packing them in. I mean, we every Wednesday night we do in-house sparring. If you ever want to watch, it's just those who are there want to spar, they spar. Those who don't want to spar, they train. But we're pretty much there Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 9, and Saturday mornings 8:30 to 11. You can come try a few nights for free. I always tell people they come right away. They want to sign up. No, try it first. Try a couple of days, see if you like it.
What's the average age of the men and women over there?
Wow, we average probably I'm gonna say we have an 8-year-old boy who's consistent. We average from 8 to my oldest is 62,
Wow.
which he will be retiring this month and moving away. But after that, we have Joe, who's 46, and he's one that would never get in the ring. And now he wants to go spar at another gym and then probably compete one time as a master. And it's nice to see because they got the confidence. I mean, he's gotten so much better. Big difference now. He's hitting hard. He's moving. He has cardio. He never had condition. A lot of cardio now.
Do people come for you for maybe self-defense too, that want to learn how to maybe defend themselves?
Yeah, they like the confidence, and that's I always tell them after they train, listen, you don't have to spar. I never force anybody to spar. But that's how you learn it. You learn it in that ring because the bag's not punching back. And I put them in with my experienced guys who pretty much slap them, until they get a little tougher, and then they go tougher, and then I match them up with somebody who I think is at the same level. And you know what? Everybody that has done it has loved it so far.
We're gonna get over there, ain't it?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
get over
Yeah,
there.
Wednesday night. We're gonna do it.
And Alex, where can people find you on social media and all that stuff?
Find me on Instagram, Alex 2X's _ Vargas, and Facebook, Alex Vargas. That's it.
Going forward, Alex, what could everyone expect?
Keep winning, and the goal is to be a world champion. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's what every fighter wants to do and become. So that's my dream.
And you got a great start at it. So, guys, thank you very much, Alex.
Thank
Mike,
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Vargas
you
so
Boxing,
much.
for stopping by. This is the 495 podcast. You can catch us on iTunes, Spotify. You can get on your Apple Podcast app on your phone. And, guys, thanks again.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks, guys.
I've ever felt before. In my current state and in these days of war, we must grow together or the end is near. Thicken up your skin and loosen up your fears. I've been waiting through my limitations, choosing to move.